And welcome back to Orewa Bowling Club, where we've got the North Harbour Masters, kindly sponsored by Ryman Healthcare, and we're covering now the men's 60 to 74 fours, and we've got two composite sides, one with Walter Howden from Orewa, Steve Hoeft from Point Chev, Peter Nathan from Birkenhead, and Bruce McClintock out of Orewa as well, against Neil Fisher, who's skipping, with John Walker from Browns Bay, Brian Chapman from Howick, and Colin Rogan from Browns Bay. Now, I must comment early, there are 4 sets of white bowls being used in this game. They're all wearing white clothing as well, so we are going to do our very best to ensure that we are giving you the right information. As I said earlier, my name's Stephen Yates, the chairman of Bowls North Harbour, and joining me in commentary today is the established Wyn Gray. How are you going, Will?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Looking forward to this. Should be a cracking final.
Yeah, it should be. Certainly on paper, the bookies' favourites will be the Fisher skip side. Very established. Been playing bowls together for a very long time, against quite a new combination of Howden and co. So looks like they've sort of hit the green running, as they say. The first 3 bowls there very close and all slightly behind the jack, and the green has sped up a little bit since we started play at 8:30 this morning, and it's probably running at 18 seconds sort of minimum. So you see the second bowl there, Colin Rogan come in, which will be a holding shot. So Peter Nathan playing 2 for Walter Howden. Looks like he's going to start on his backhand.
Yeah, at least we can tell Peter's bowls.
Yeah.
And Steve Hoft, who follows him in the same team, has got a set of blue bowls, which we'll be able to identify very easily. But a pack of white bowls is going to make it pretty interesting.
Yeah, and Walter Howden also plays with bowls, darker bowls, along with Brian Chapman. But one thing that was mentioned to me earlier after the commentation of the last game was people wanting to know exactly what bowls that people are playing with, so they can sort of see the line and how they're drawing. So Walter Howden's playing with a set of blue aerodynamics. Steve Hoft is playing with a set of blue Redline SRs. Peter Nathan's playing with a green set of Taylor blue lines, and Bruce McClintock is playing, as we see Peter drawing one just behind the jack there. Bruce McClintock playing with white SRs as well. Neil Fisher, white SRs. John Walker playing with white Aero Optimas. Brian Chapman with a brand new set of what he calls multicoloured rainbow SRs, and Colin Rogan playing with white SRs. So a few different types of bowls there, but which will take slightly different lines, but a lot of SRs prominent there.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to have to change my bowls to, if they get you to a final. These guys sure know how to use them. They've all had a very good tournament, and I mean, just for a first end, they look like they've got a pretty good grasp on the speed of this rink already.
Yeah, as we see Steve Hoft here with his first bowl, putting out Neil Fisher, indicating to his team that he's 2 down, telling John he can play either hand.
Yeah, John Walker, the man who saved the day for this group yesterday, who were down on the last end. John, by all accounts, drew a couple of beauties, and
It's
then
like he's just drawn now.
Yep, absolutely. And then on the last end, won the game for them.
Yeah, well, that went to a tiebreaker.
Yes, it did. It was extra end.
Yeah, extra end.
Extra.
So that was the Fisher combination winning 14-13 over David Ball's team from Carlton, Cornwall. And also the Walter Howden game against Chris Taylor from Takapuna was extremely close, went to the last end, and Walter Howden's team getting through 9-8. So two semi-finals with very, very close score lines and like you said, extra end in that Fisher game.
Yep, I can talk through one of those games, having been involved in it. But we always felt that the Walter Howden team perhaps were just ahead of us, but we managed to hang on until the last end when it was all square, and in the end, Peter Nathan drew a couple of beauties. Yeah.
As we see John there, looks like he's changed his hand. Just coming across the hen. So as they cross, the Fisher skip team holding the shot there, but Walter's team's got two close seconds. A lot of the bowls are very close together, well bunched. Very good head for a first end win.
Outstanding. Yep, and it does look reasonably slippery. I mean, the green here at Orewa has been terrific.
Yep.
The whole way through. It's got a great draw line, and it's got some speed that has been running around 18 seconds, if you ask me. It's a very nice speed.
It's close here, Walter. Looking just to sit on that bowl. Oh, just fell outside. So got 3 seconds now, the Howden combination. I'd say Fisher will be playing his backhand, trying to get one close again. Taking a wider line than most of them.
Yeah, now it starts to bend.
Yeah, coming in well. So Walter could sort of afford to maybe just play with a metre on. You know, he's been in the cage, he's got 2 seconds, he's got the back bowl, so, you know, first end, good opportunity to just...
He could just squeeze that white bowl out. Yeah, he could make 3.
It might just be a little bit wide for the speed that he's chosen, which is a great speed, because you see it's reaching that back bowl of Chapman's. Neil Fisher obviously very capable of drawing inside that second shot bowl, so okay, so one shot there to the Fisher combination. So after the first end, obviously 1-0. So you've enjoyed this tournament win. You obviously played in the fours. Did you play any other disciplines?
I played in the whole lot.
Did you?
Believe it or not, yes. Put my name down for it. Had a go. Played in the pairs. We didn't qualify. Played okay, and then played in the mixed pairs, which for me was a real treat, playing with Gail Melrose.
Oh, wow.
Had a lot of fun. We'd never played together before, but Gary Banks was telling me about his sister and how she needed someone to play with last year. So we were down to play, and of course it got cancelled last year. So we didn't play, and so we said, why don't we have another go this year? Well, that was to my benefit. Delightful lady, yes. And we had a good time.
Yeah, no, she is, and I believe she's already booked you in for next year too.
Well, yeah, that's putting it nicely, yeah. I think she has been very generous in saying, yes, she'd like to play with me again.
No, Gail is a lovely lady. I've had a lot to do with her, and she's certainly provided me with some real good hints and tips on coaching. She certainly knows what she's talking about.
Well, yeah, and I think Bowls New Zealand must be very lucky to have her. She was a delight to play with, very easy, very relaxed, made you feel comfortable, and I'm sure from having played a little bit of bowls, that's half the secret to this game. If you feel comfortable with a bowl in your hand and with what your partner's trying to do, it makes a heck of a difference.
Yeah, and it's certainly, you know, for yourself, you're playing with someone that you're comfortable with. It puts your own self at ease as well. There's no expectations or, there's no negative body language that puts you in a position where you feel inferior to someone who may be a better bowler than you or not.
Yeah, not at all. She's got the reputation as and the runs on the board as an extremely good player. So I could have felt a little bit ill at ease.
Yep.
But it never happened at all. It was just like playing with someone down at the club.
Yeah, and that's great. And just going back to the game here, I just saw Mr. Fisher throw his rag into the ditch. Certainly not happy with his leads. First 2 bowls that ended up in the ditch, but also the last bowler, Bruce McClintock, has ended up in the ditch. So that just shows how quick this green's running.
Very unusual for a man of Colin Rogan's pedigree.
Absolutely.
He is probably one of the most decorated bowlers in North Harbour history. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Can play any position, can play singles.
Yep.
He can skip a 4 or a pair, but he can also lead as well.
And plays them all with equal ability anywhere in the team.
Yeah. So Peter Nathan electing to play his backhand down here. Green looks pretty reasonable here. It's just all going to be on his speed, which seems to be pretty good. Yeah.
Peter is an extremely capable bowler who has some number of children who are also very gifted bowlers. Daughter Millie, son Chad. They are a very good team. And if there was a Masters team family competition, my goodness, they'd clean up.
Oh, absolutely. And all 3 of them are just so laid back, relaxed.
Yeah.
Pete, I've played a lot of bowls with and against Peter, playing out of the same club, and Chad as well. In recent times, he's still in his juniors.
Yeah.
Millie making the North Harbour ladies side.
Yep.
Pete in the North Harbour men's side. But here we see again, he's drawn 2 great bowls.
They're disarmingly nice.
Yeah.
And that, when you play against them, can be a bit of a trap because Pete loves to engage you in a bit of a chat and this, that and the other.
Yeah.
But beneath that, his intense ferocity and competitiveness shines through. He's a heck of a bowler.
Yeah, no, he's certainly got a good sense of humour that comes through. Well, this is going to end up in the ditch as well. You'll see Neil Fisher, body language there, and this is what we talk about just before, body language. These guys have played together so many times, and, it's one thing I've always said to anybody I'm playing with: you never play a bad bowl on purpose, or you never try and, bowl a short one and put it in the ditch on purpose. It's only the second end. The downside, obviously, with this format is, with it only being 12 ends, that you can't afford to have a slow start when you're playing pairs over 18 ends. It can give you that extra opportunity if you make a slow start. Yeah,
if you don't quite get it to start with, this can be a tough format to get back into of only 12 ends. But Fisher's team with John Walker and Rogan, and that they are just so experienced with Brian Chapman as well that I would be extremely surprised if they don't get back into it next end.
Yeah, and surely will. And we can, prove what you were saying there about giving up a big lead at the start. In the previous 75 plus pairs final between Gary Banks and Peter Shane, Gary was up 11-1, and Peter Shane came back to 11-10 with one end to play and was holding shot to force an extra end, and Gary Banks drew it dead with his last bowl to win that. And as we saw in the first game this morning, Gary's now had 2 gold medals. He's now out there playing in another discipline, playing for his 3rd gold medal. He's having an outstanding season for the Takapuna Club.
Isn't that remarkable, first of all, stamina from an 80-year-old
Yeah.
who loves the game. Gary would play every day if he could.
Yep.
He just loves competing, and to see him have this success after he's had a tough few personal issues in the last couple of years, and to come back with this sort of thing is incredible, and I think a lot of people have recognised that and been overjoyed for him.
Yeah, well, Gary sort of moved around club to club on the shore for quite a while, trying to find the right club for him where he's going to fit in, and where, you know, he's got the people around him that he likes to, you know, be involved with, and that certainly has happened at Takapuna. And I was talking to Gary yesterday, and he was saying that, you know, in a lot of upcoming bowls events, he's playing with juniors, or he's playing with people who are new to the club, just to give them an opportunity. So, you know, he's putting something back into the game as well as playing competitively himself.
Yep. And someone else down at Takapuna Bowls, Jenny Taylor, who was Chris Taylor's wife, will tell you that it's all down to her yoga sessions that she operates on a Monday, and Gary attends, and he says it's helped him, you know, stretch a little bit and do that sort of stuff. So Jenny Taylor will be claiming half of these results for him.
And fair enough, why not? No, well, I mean, you know, just finishing off with Gary there, you know, when he played the mixed 2-4-2 in Auckland with Wendy Jensen against Alex Reid and Jenny Stockford, and they were 15 down at one stage, and Gary's body language never changed. He never got disgruntled, as we see Walter Howden play a screamer of a shot there with his last bowl, and that's a 3 to the Howden combination, as the lovely Robin Walker, the Lollipop lady, who's a Bowls North Harbour board member. Also see another board member sitting behind next to the umpire there, Neil Connell. Great to see some of the North Harbour board members out here having a look at the final. Just a score update on the men's 75 plus fours. We were just talking about Gary Banks. He's actually 3-1 down to Murray Radunkovic. I think that's how you pronounce it. Radojkovic, thank you very much.
Yep.
So Radojkovic 3-1
Murray
up.
plays out of Murray Bay.
Yep. No, I've played against him too. A very lively character. So Gary 3-1 behind after 2 ends there, but still 10 to go. It was quite interesting just watching that last end. There was quite a lot of short bowls there. So whether the breeze is picking up, blowing sort of from the car park end, beach sort of end. And interesting, they've shortened the game up here. Bruce McClintock in his throwing of the jack, and pretty close with his first one.
This, I think it'd be very interesting if there is a cluster of bowls round the jack this time, whether we see any driving, because I don't think in the whole tournament there's been an awful lot of that.
Right.
There've been weighted shots,
but
not much driving.
As you see, this bowl from Rogan looks pretty close coming in there, just sitting just over the jack, just off the centre line. As Bruce goes to play his second bowl, we've got an update from the women's 60 to 74 fours, and that is Estelle Hickey playing Lady Ring is her surname. I'll get her first name. It's 4-0 to Hickey after 2 ends, so a good start from the Carlton combination there. And we'll keep you updated with the scores of the other finals that are going on as they come in, just to keep you informed of everything. So I see Steve Hoeft is mic'd up there from the Walter Howden team, so we'll be able to hopefully listen in to what they've got to say at some stage.
Those of you with a very keen eye will also perhaps notice that Walter Howden and Steve Hoeft are both playing without hats, and Walter with a
Yes.
one of my chrome domes, but I can assure everyone before they get up in arms that he puts plenty of sunscreen on that melon every time he's bowling.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to not use. I'm starting to get one of those little bald patches myself at the moment, but I tend to find the hats get in my way when I'm bowling, and this sweat drips down if it's hot, and so. But I do put plenty of sunscreen on, and I find there as well.
You find the peak gets
Yeah,
a
just
bit
gets
shaded.
in your vision line
Yes.
as well sometimes. It's probably just me, the way I bend down. It's not the cap's fault. But on another good line here, Brian Chapman. I think we're going to see this all day. I think we're going to have quite a few close heads during this. Even though those bowls are sort of half a metre over, Walter's indicating that they're 1 and a measure down.
Yep.
So I think Peter will just continue on his backhand and look to just wrestle in between those other 3 bowls.
Walter, of course, now plays out of Orewa here, but he played for a long time at Takapuna. He and wife Maureen,
Yep.
Both very, very good bowlers, but they live up this way, and I think that great problem in Auckland, traffic, just eventually got to them trying to travel up and down that motorway to bowls at sort of 8:30 in the morning. It became too much, and they were also delivering grandchildren to schools and things. So they've ended up playing here in Orewa, and good luck to them.
And I think the strength, I was talking about this earlier in the day too, as we see Brian Chapman just match the Peter Nathan bowl just come in that was shot. That this club has gone from strength to strength based on a lot of people moving up here. It's got one of, if not the highest membership in New Zealand. Has a lot of corporate events, a lot of social bowling, and the wonderful covered green that I believe they're potentially looking at doing another one here and having 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean that is such an asset in winter, especially when you can guarantee bowlers, if you want to come for a game at Orewa at a certain time on a certain date, you're fine.
Yeah, and I think it's the future of bowls. To be honest, when you look in Australia, which I believe is still quite a long way ahead of us as far as bowls go. We're certainly clawing that back, but it may not happen in my time, but certainly as bowls has progressed, going from wooden bowls to sort of black and brown bowls to now multicoloured bowls, similar to football, that grass greens will start to be replaced by artificial greens because of the cost to maintain them, and then the covers come on, and this sport will become, a 365-day a year game played on artificial surfaces.
Oh, I'm convinced of that as well. As much as the purists will hate it, I think they're going to have to accept that, be it in 10 years, be it in 20, who knows, but I think we'll be playing largely undercover on artificial greens, maybe in multi-tiered greens, which gives you better value for money and space, all these sort of things. It will happen, and especially in our climate in winter.
Yeah, this has been just going back to the game. This has been an amazing end. You've got 7 bowls there, of where they've all bowled to each other's bowl, and I think the Steve Hoeft bowl, which is his second one there, is sitting. The blue one there, sitting as shot. But lots of opportunity for either skip to add or clear this cluster. There's still plenty of room to draw.
And possibly Peter Nathan's bowl may be second.
Yep. Yeah, it's certainly. Before that last bowl was played, Neil Fisher was indicating that they were 1 down, but this seems on a pretty good line of Walters here as well. It's certainly going to reach that back. Interesting to see what Neil does here, whether he goes on his backhand. Yep.
perhaps we need an insert of our lollipop lady,
Yeah.
Robin Walker, who is doing her Bowls North Harbour duties today, but it was also another one, President of Takapuna
Yes,
at the
she
moment.
is,
And she
yeah.
was our secretary for 6 or 7 years, did a fantastic job, and puts a lot of time and effort into helping and administering bowls on this side of the bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. And, myself being a recent addition to the Bowls North Harbour board, it was Robin that convinced me to put my name in the hat. And her and I formed a really good working relationship really early because her dedication and passion to the game, whether she's playing or whether she's, administrating, her passion is just so undeniable. It's just great. They come up short there.
Yep.
So let's see there what we've got. Okay, so they're taking the Steve Hoeft bowl out. He thinks he's got two. John Walker's confirming that. So 2 shots there, 2 shots to the Walter Howden team there. One bowl by Steve Hoeft and Peter Nathan. And probably out of the 8 players so far, I'd say that Peter has been the most consistent and has made the best start out of the 3 ends that we've played so far.
He's got it both ways, hasn't he?
Yeah, both ways. He drew 2 coming this way. He drew another one going the other way, and he's certainly been a big contributor to the scoreline as it stands at 5-1 at the moment.
Isn't that a weird part of bowls? Don't you find sometimes you can get it going one direction, you get the weight and you get the line, you turn around and you're not with it.
If you've noticed what Peter's doing though, they call it in bowling terms playing around the clock. Peter's playing his backhand both ways.
Yeah.
Whereas, I know when I'm coached, I've been told, you play the forehand one way and the backhand the other.
That's convention, isn't it?
That's sort of the convention there. It's a bit of a wayward one there from Bruce McClintock.
But Peter did this against us yesterday as well.
Did he?
He bowled around the clock, and that backhand of his is a very effective weapon. And when he needs to, when he's called on by a skip to change, he can do that as well. So he's not a one-sided bowler, but he's choosing to do that at the moment.
Yeah, well, we've got a player, and he's played rep bowls for Bowls North Harbour as well, and is an extremely good lead and singles player, Mark Rumble. He does the same. He plays his backhand both ways. He trusts it, and if he does have to change, because generally he's leading anyway, so he can play his favoured backhand all the time. But yeah, it's an interesting concept of what you should do. And again, we've got another. Bruce has made a great correction here. First one going out of bounds, and next one is 3 inches off the jack.
Well, that's what you got to do. In two bowls is not much to tinker with, and when your first one goes slightly astray, you can play with your head and your thinking, and you've really got to get your act together again to get one as close as Bruce did that time.
That one from Colin coming close, but I think he's just going to come up a little bit short. Yeah, I mean, they talk about the mental side of the game versus the actual skill. I've been playing bowls 14 years now, and as I've learned along the way, the longer I've got on, the stronger the percentage of the mental side of the game has become prevalent to me. And it's, I'd sort of put it at sort of a 70-30 sort of split, that, you've got your base skill level, but if you've got the top half at 70%, you know how you're going to play, you've got confidence, and you're feeling, sort of in the mood, then that sort of can compensate for your lack of skill, or
Yes.
someone's got more ability than you have type thing.
And the other interesting part about that is, I agree, it's very much a sort of 70-30 game, mental, physical. But the other thing is you can also outthink yourself, can't you? You can overthink it, in my opinion. This is a game where if you can let your natural instincts flow, you're generally going to do better because you're a bit more relaxed and it's just coming naturally.
Yeah.
And you're using what you've learned over a number of years.
And when you get to start to play with, established players, this is close again from Nathan. Holds its line. Going to get a slight rub, but very good bowl again.
That's a terrific position.
Absolutely. Skipper will be loving that. One right on the head and one right in behind. When you play with people who have been experienced and played the game for a long time at a high level, you learn so much by what they're telling you. You see a shot and you think, I can play with weight, and if I do this, I'll get rid of that, and and they turn around and say, no, you just do what you can and you draw as close as you can. And, that's
yes, I do.
how you learn.
And the other thing is, too, if you look at all these players, they've all got very different styles.
Yes.
And style doesn't really matter. It's as long as you repeat what you're doing on the mat. And if you keep doing that, whatever your style is, so it's the equivalent of golf's Jim Furyk.
Yep.
He has got one of the most unusual styles in golf, but he repeats it every time. And same here. You watch, for example, Brian Chapman, who's bowling in here, has got a slightly different style, but it comes out the same every time.
Yeah, and if you watch, because I've played with Hoeft quite a bit as well in juniors and stuff like that, and if you have a look at when he's finished, when the bowl's left his hand, his knee hits the ground. It's like he's sort of on the ground praying type thing with as well. But he does it every single time. It's not something that's unique that he does it on the odd occasion. So if we just watch this here, if they zoom in, you'll see his right knee. It's not there now, but he didn't quite do it that time, but it's, and he's basically sort of getting the same result, just a bit wider and a bit heavier. Up in the ditch.
Yeah. You're half a bowl low now, you can still come in there, only one down.
But the difference between here being on the jack and being in the ditch is so very little on a fast green like this. It really very little. So I think
It's close.
the key to
Walker trying to chip him off.
key to all this here today is taking enough green.
Yeah.
If you're narrow on a fast green, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and talking in the previous game with Mary Campbell, who was commentating with me, and she said, you've just got to trust your bowl that it's going to come back, and especially on a green like this that's nice and quick. It's really true, and it's that sort of mental situation again. Your mind's telling you that you can't put it that wide because it's never going to come back, and then your eyes telling you this is where I've got to aim, and then you've got to get somewhere in between that sort of says that yes, I am going to trust that bowl is going to come back. And
when you have your couple of trial ends before the day starts, you don't quite believe it. You're going, that bowl is going to turn a great deal at the end, and I can trust it.
Yeah.
But if you've had a diet of playing on slow greens or ones that are a bit slightly uneven beforehand, it's very difficult to tune your mind into that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Neil's playing with a little bit of weight here, searching for this shot bowl. He's not far away, but I think he's going to land that one of Pete Nathan's. So effectively, there's no bowls in behind the head except for the one that's sitting out in the wing. I can't tell whose it is. It's a white one, but
no,
it might be Bruce McClintock's.
No, I think his other one went out there. So
Anyway, we'll wait and see if it does come into play. It's not at the moment. Walter will be hoping that crosses the
That
centre
needs to
line and
go.
gets right in Neil's way, but it doesn't. But interesting now with no bowls behind the head, what he decides to do. Okay, Neil's telling him. John's telling him to just play up to the bowl and see if he can move the jack over to those bowls that are sort of sitting that we can't quite see at the moment.
traction narrow.
You got the follow through. Okay. So it's 1. 1 to Walter Howden. Takes the score to 6-1 after the completion of 4 ends. So the old fours games does take a little bit longer than the pairs that we were playing this morning, but you know it's a decent lead for Howden.
It depends what happens, but these games are played at a reasonably quick clip.
Yep.
Until maybe we come to a sticky situation in an end.
Yep.
And there's a bit of a discussion between a team, but generally we're getting these games done in an hour and hour and a quarter.
Hour and a quarter,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And there's no time limit. And again, for anybody who's tuning in for the first time, it is 12 ends, no time limit. So it looks like Bruce McClintock's trying to play the short end again. It's gone a little bit further, but we had an interesting situation in the previous game with the women's pairs final where the Takapuna ladies were 4 down on the head, and Adele Ineson still had 1 bowl to play, and Connie Matheson made an error and moved the 4 shot bowls as if the end was finished. And so there was a lot of deliberation about where they were and where they could be, and they couldn't reach agreement. So they referred to the rule book, and Chubb Roberts, who was the umpire for that game, said, I think it was rule 29.4 or something, says that if you remove the bowls, then you're conceding that that the end is over, and therefore that person can't play their last bowl. But what also had was that there was a measure for the 5th shot. But Adele, the Takapuna pair were leading 8-5 at the time. And so with those 4 shots, it took a massive swing and changed the whole game. And so the very experienced Rogan there using Bruce's bowl.
Could they have agreed, if they wanted to, those 2 teams in that game, to say, look, we're okay, we're happy with where they were, near there or thereabouts?
Yep, they could have.
Right.
But
they do have the right to,
yes, they do,
to say no.
Yeah, they could have put it down and stuff, and they couldn't agree where they were. We had a look at it from the screen, and we thought that the bowls that they placed were a lot closer than where they were actually. But they did have 4 shots. But I think, from a mentality point of view, I think there's a bit of frustration shown as well, and things, and that changed the game completely, not just by the score, but actually by the the mental aptitude of the players at that time, and Meiringa Bay went on to win it. 2 updates in our other finals going on. The men's 75 plus 4s. Mr. Banks is 6-1 down to
Murray Radojkovic.
6-1 down after 4 ends. And Estelle Hickey from Carlton is up 6-2 after 4 ends in the women's 60-74 fours final. Let's see, the bowler Pete Nathan just going to come up short.
Draw a toucher.
Yeah, and John, Brian can afford to be quite positive with this. If he, like you said, if he picks it up as a toucher and drags the white through, it makes it even better for his team.
Yep. Didn't even matter if he'd knocked his own bowl further on, draw onto his own bowl.
Yeah, and put the other one in behind. Certainly had the weight to do so. I think Walter's instruction may be Peter to narrow it up a bit and him play with maybe a yard over. But you can play the shot very well usually.
Here's a forehand. Yep.
Played his backhand with his first one. Walter seems to like it. We're going to hold on. Oh, great effort. Just probably lacked that sort of half a metre of pace and that would have tipped the bowl over, but certainly a great second shot. You were talking about attacking shots, whether it's going to be interesting to see if anybody's got any back bowls in behind, whether they're going to attack or not.
Steve Hoeft could well draw on to Peter Nathan's bowl there, I would think.
Yep, and that's what
Stop
Walter Howden's instructions are,
Yeah.
to draw onto that with probably again a yard over with weight, tip that bowl over because it's sitting flat.
Because that white bowl, if it gets hit, it will go past the jack. It won't hit it.
Yeah.
That's the late starters.
Okay, the ladies 75 plus fours has just got underway as well, and after two ends, the Lister skip team is leading the Fraser skip team by 3 shots to 1 after two ends. So we've got 4 finals going on at the moment, Win.
Jill
I think.
Fraser would be the equivalent of Gary Banks in this tournament, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Hasn't she been in 3 finals?
I think she's been in 3 finals. I don't
I
think
got
she. I think she.
Join in there.
She got knocked down in the semi-finals last night. in
and won the pairs today?
She won the pairs today. She's playing the fours. Yeah, she played with Peter Shane in the
Mixed pairs.
in the mixed pairs,
Right.
and lost that last night. It's close. Ugh.
That's the skill of John Walker,
Oh,
who can turn a bowl at right angles.
yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
beautiful touch.
Yeah, and one of the most lovely men of bowls. He's just an absolute gentleman.
Yep, very, very quiet, very unassuming on the green, but the touch that he's got is the first time you play him, you're in awe.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first met him as well. But it's quite an interesting combination with Neil and Brian, who are quite outspoken. Colin sort of chirps in now and again, and John doesn't say anything. It's he just lets his bowls do the talking.
Yeah.
Um,
But he is, if you ask me, the key man in this team.
Yeah.
At number 3, he can play either side, drawing. His weight shots, up shots are generally extremely accurate.
and he's a very good reader of the head.
Yes.
Yep. He sees things that other people wouldn't see.
Yep.
But see, great shot there again. You've got 7 bowls that are all within a metre of the jack again.
Yeah. And he's got a stack of titles too, which says he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the tally would be of titles between these 8 players. I know Walter sort of not long being out of sort of 1 to 8s and juniors.
I think Fisher's quartet between them would have a lot more titles, but it's not to say they're a superior crew.
No.
It's just they've been playing longer.
Yeah, correct. And playing together as well. I mean, when you put a relatively new fours combination together, it takes you a while to understand each other. It takes you a while to get that team culture, team spirit. Whereas these guys have been playing together for so long that they don't even have to say anything.
No. No, they know how each other bowls. They know what they'll do in a certain situation. I think they played out of Browns Bay for a long time.
Yep. And Fisher's played out of Howick as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and knowing that Neil Fisher and Brian Chapman both play out of Howick,
Yep.
where the greens, I think, are beautiful. They can be extremely tricky if the wind blows, but the speed will be very similar to this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Howard greens are really good, but like you said, it's the wind that dictates those. And Neil's short again. Yeah, he'll be disappointed with those last 2 bowls there. However, they've got another shot, so it's now 6-2 after 5 ends, and let's see what Colin Rogan's got to do with the mat, whether he might lengthen it a little bit. Oh no, Neil's sort of given the indication to play 3/4 length. Interesting on that, when you're a lead and you're a skip, who tells you where to put the jack? I mean, I personally think if I'm the lead, I'm going to put the jack to where I believe I can draw the bowl, where I've been most comfortable to. But then you've got a skip that tells you, no, put it here. I mean...
My argument would be, if you want me to lead, I have to bowl the jack to a length where I feel comfortable I can draw within a couple of feet every time. And so I would suggest the lead should have a greater say in where it goes, the length.
Yeah, because I've seen, whether I've played with them or against them, I've seen some skips who get quite, infuriated when a lead doesn't put the jack where they have their foot, and then the lead goes and puts one right on the knocker.
Yeah, or they ask for a different length and the lead really doesn't want to go there, and so you're playing with his mind and saying, well,
sorry, we don't care, we'll worry about it.
We'll fix it from 2-3 and skip.
Yes. Well, sometimes it's too late, if the opposition, and especially in 2-bowl-4s and stuff like that, like this here, puts one right on it, or close enough, you automatically you're putting the opposition lead under pressure.
Colin, who's wearing his familiar little sort of sun hat that just covers his melon.
Yes. It's like one of those old flannel hats from in England, the England days.
Or he's been playing cricket, out there with one of those.
Or it's shrunk in the wash.
Yes. Yeah.
But
his mother put it through the hot wash, not the cold wash.
Yeah.
And Bruce, who's sporting perhaps a Texas-style hat.
Oh, yeah. I think they got that off David Eads.
Yes.
Another character of bowls. Someone told me yesterday, Bruce knocked that in. Yeah, it's,
He's about 18 inches over the head, Roy.
Didn't mean to obviously do that, but someone's told me yesterday that David Eads is down in Tauranga and he's bought a house bus and he's going to start travelling.
With his bowls?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't put it past him.
No. It's not like Brian Chapman to get one that short either.
I would say he slightly dropped that probably.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Just to give people who are maybe first time or new viewers to bowls, Steve, you should perhaps talk them through what it's like bowling on a green this fast. It's like bowling on linoleum sometimes, trying to stop the bowl, isn't it? Yeah,
so I mean, in your pre-bowl preparation is quite key, looking where the jack is relative to where the mat is. Good correction here from Brian, but I think it's just running through the head. And then, in your mind, talking yourself through that, the green is quick, that you don't have to put much oomph into it, and that you have to take lots of green. And so that sort of formula is sort of the way, as you see here again with Peter, he's made the necessary adjustment, just coming up a little bit short, but again, the line was perfect.
Yes.
As he was 1.5 meters over, now he's 0.5 meter short. But yeah, it's just, again, coming back to trusting your pre-bowl routine. It's coming under the head, and
See,
it's
that-
going to come right across.
That bowl of Brian
Right.
Chapman's is almost in their line,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's just niggling away in their mind.
Yeah, and even though it's so far out, and the skip will say it's so far out, you can get around it. You've just seen with John's bowl there.
Yeah, and if you don't quite trust it, you go, okay, I'll go that side, and you actually put on another couple of mats worth of weight, and
Yeah.
it's in the ditch.
Steve Hoeft,
You play like that,
just
mate.
slightly overweight.
You prefer-
Oh, Neil's has given John the option, so he is staying on that backhand. He needs to, obviously, he's made a big correction to come around it because he knows it is going to come back. If he's got the right speed, this will be extremely close. It's going to be close enough,
Looks
I'd
like it'll
say.
count.
Looks like it counts.
My bowl, how far over, Walter?
And Steve Hoff just there wanting to know how far over his first bowl was. Looks like about 1.5 meters. Yep. So I'm walking maybe behind the camera. That's good to see though, because you know there's some people who get onto the mat and they're distracted and they think, oh well, I'll just keep bowling it. 9 times out of 10, it won't be the bowl that you want it to be. Steve backed away. He had every right to.
Oh, yes.
And
If he's noticing someone out the corner of his eye, it's like a batsman at cricket.
Yep.
Someone's walking behind the side screen,
Yep.
and they're distracted by it. They have every right to wait. But there are some bowlers who don't see anything behind the head, and they bowl no matter what.
Yep.
But others seem to pick up every midge and mosquito and fly that's down the other end.
Yeah, exactly.
And are forever taking time to deliver their bowl.
Well, it also depends how you judge where your bowl's going to go. Some people pick a mark on the bank. Some people pick, somewhere on the number or anything like that.
Yep.
So
Some see a different coloured patch on the green.
Yep.
Others have a line that's maybe only 2 or 3 mats in front of where they're delivering.
Neil Fisher taking a very similar line to John, and he's got around it, and that would definitely count. So it was 2, confirmed by the Lollipop lady. So we're now 3, holding 3 there for Fisher, which puts a bit of pressure back on Walter now. His reaction looks a little bit quick to me. Right line. Yeah, no, definitely a bit quick for drawing. This is where someone like Neil Fisher can sort of punish you.
Yeah. And that bowl of Walter's was purely a case of him probably being a little pumped up and under the situation, knowing he's
Didn't
got
wanna
to
be
try
short.
and draw.
Yeah, didn't want to be short.
Yes.
Whereas Neil looks nice and relaxed. He's very capable of providing exactly the same bowl. He's got slightly wider. But if he's got the right speed, that should come all the way back. I think he just is going to be a bit short. Anyway, they're holding 3. Okay, Steve Hoff there, instruction, change your hand, play on your forehand, and either looking for the jack or for the bowls.
I want to ask you about that situation where
Yep.
compared to the lead throwing the jack down,
Yep.
should that be where the skip should make the choice, or should he rely on his number 3 to make
Yeah.
a decision?
Yeah, correct. And it's quite interesting. I'll come to it in a minute, just about the 3s and 4s. So it's confirmed 3 shots there to Fisher, makes it 6-5 after 6 ends. Update from the other rinks, we've got the women's 75 plus 4s. Jill Fraser's team now taking the lead 4-3 after end number 3. And in the men's 75 plus, I'll just call him Murray. Murray is 8-1 ahead of Gary Banks after 5 ends of 12. But yeah, talking about threes and, when you're playing fours, threes and the skip, noticed in Australia, in the Trans-Tasman in particular, you saw a lot of Ali Forsyth where he was skip, and Gary Lawson, who was playing three for him in the fours, where they're both standing on the head together for the first 2 bowls and stuff like that. And you don't commonly see that in club or representative bowling. But what do you think about that, where you've got a three and a skip effectively calling the head or looking at the head of how they want the others to play?
I quite like that in terms of how they're trying to build a head. If they may well be asking their lead and their number 2, say, to bowl down one side, but in fact they're planning on doing something on the other tack.
Yep.
But they need to have a bowl behind and one sort of near the jack on one side before they can try and deliver that system.
Yeah, it's something that in our North Harbour selectors have started to encourage. It's just something, I suppose, it comes back to that trust thing again.
I'm never quite sure whether that's under the rules. The way you read the rules, a number 3 shouldn't visit the head until he's played 2 bowls.
Correct.
So, is he breaching that rule by staying down the other end or not?
Well, he hasn't bowled any bowls, and
No.
he's just staying down the end from the previous end. So, it's interesting. Interesting to find that out.
Who goes in it, Rory?
Saw there a good first bowl from Bruce McClintock, who currently holds the shot, and Brian Chapman elected to play his backhand. He's got plenty of room to draw, and he's got 2 bowls sitting right in behind. Should he be slightly heavy?
And bowls is a game like golf.
Yes.
Believe it or not, that has so many little rules and things you can and can't do, and that if you are playing a team which is very litigious and pernickety, you don't want to infringe any of those, because they'll pounce on you and try and upset you really by using the rules.
Nathan's probably one of the first bowls that actually seen Pete bowl narrow. He's had the right line, but this time he's got great weight. But it counts at the moment. Yeah, we were talking about, we were playing in a competition last week where the rules stated that the team, it was a pairs event, must have the matching top and bottom, and if they didn't, they could be disqualified. And there was one team that was not in the same shorts. One had white shorts, one had black shorts. They had the same tops on, and someone questioned the convener or chief umpire as to whether these, because they were getting beat obviously,
Yes.
of whether these people could be disqualified. That's, again, you talk about similarities with golf and bowls and stuff like that, and it comes down to, sometimes some of the golfers have too many.
Well, you could look at it here. These boys are in white shorts.
Yep.
2 of the team
And
are in
2
black
of them
shorts.
in black shorts.
Well,
I don't really want to start to cause any problems, but
no, I would hate it to be an issue. And in fact, I think that's should any opposition get involved or lower themselves to that level, then they would lower themselves in my estimation.
yes, absolutely, same with me. and that's all about learning to lose gracefully.
Yes.
Um,
And that's tough.
yeah, it is. It is very much so, especially, if you haven't played well as well.
Yes. And you're very disappointed. It is very tough.
Yeah. I don't mind losing to a team that's played better bowls than me on the day. As we see a great bowl
I'm
here
pretty
from
used to that.
Steve Hoeft, sitting there probably with shot jack level. But when you play against a team who get wicks off things and they drive at something and hit the wrong bowl and it hits, those sort of things frustrate me the most when I'm getting beat.
And it does happen a lot in this game.
It does. It does. Yeah, a good shot there from John. That seems to be, I'd say, maybe shot. Measure. So the game.
That's either Walter not knowing or not wanting to give anything away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, in that, because I skip quite a bit myself. In that situation, I'll be saying to Steve, play as if you're one down. Just play as if you're one down. That way, you're going to be positive. He gets onto his own and gets inside, is happy. If he does hit the white bowl and it gets closer, well, it's no different from where he was. Whereas now, his last bowl was really narrow. That way, and it's quite good if I'm playing in a different position and my skip says, positive draw to the jack,
Yeah, and that's where a skip who's been playing with the same team for a long while, like Neil Fisher, would know how each of his players reacts in a certain situation. Some love to know whether they're up or down. Others don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I like to know when I'm playing my bowl because I want to know if what I could potentially do could cost us a shot or something, and it does. It just has a mental effect on me. I think Walter was literally right with not knowing who's got the shot, but I'm sure he'll be certainly just trying to draw inside that.
Often, I think it might be the last instruction you hear from your skip, and if that is something like,
it's close. Yeah, got the cake. Whose bowls have we got sitting there? There's Peter Nathan. There's a Brian Chapman bowl there, and another white one. John's indicated, I think that
two.
He's got two, so the white bowl there must be sitting next to Brian Chapman's. Must be one of Neil Fisher's got a very, very good art of driving to a displaced jack. I put the commentator's curse on it here. Great weight.
Draw the shot, Walter.
He's not happy with that.
No. Oh, well, it's got a good option, good opportunity to make amends. Very capable of drawing the shot. Just wouldn't want to hit that short bowl.
He's got the
Very,
jack.
very close. Oh, certainly cut it down.
One down.
Very good effort. So, 1 to Fisher. So we're all square. 6
5 ends to go.
5 ends to go. 7 gone. So they've hung in there. It was 5-1 at one stage. It was 6-1 at one stage. So the Fisher combination winning the last 3 ends has put them back level. Now I'm going to say this right this time. The men's 75 plus fours, we now have after 7 ends Murray Radojkovic leading Gary Banks 9-3 at the moment. That's after 7 ends, so 5 ends to go, and that Gary needs to sort of get his skates on if he wants to get that third gold medal of the day, make it a trifecta. Maybe the long day being 80 might have zapped a bit of his energy win.
Well, I'd like to play Gary Banks in something tomorrow
Yeah.
because I don't reckon he'd bowl very well. He would, after a day he's had today, he'd be, I think he'd be a little bit more relaxed tomorrow, and probably all the fire had gone out of his bowls.
Yeah. No, when I bumped into him before he was making his way up for the third game and wished him well, he was just so happy. He was, it was also, it was like a little kid at Christmas type thing.
So tell me, Steve, where do you reckon, with 5 ends to go, we had Walter's team getting out to a lead, and now they've lost the last 3 ends. Where's that momentum? Is that going to stay with Fisher? Do they need to break that cycle this end?
Yeah, I think they do, and I think they need to go back to, if you've noticed, since they've got hold of the mat, Fisher's team are playing that 3/4 length, sort of mid to 3/4 length, and they're getting bowls close, whereas Walter Howden's team are struggling a little bit. If they do win this end, I think they need to go back to that short.
Right.
That short end that Bruce McClintock was putting one real close right at the start.
He seems to like this.
Yeah, I think he might be
Bit
just
heavy.
a little bit quick. So
That's how tricky it is. I think he really liked that when it left his hand.
Yeah.
And he's probably 3 mats over.
Yeah, probably 2.5 metres, 3 metres through. But what this is doing now is it's starting to put extra pressure on the 2s and the 3s. That Peter Nathan, who was really relaxed at the start and drawing really nicely, now playing at 2, he's coming to the head and he's 2 down. And a bowl just sort of resting in behind. There's pressure on him to at least get close.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with his line.
Oh yeah, terrific.
Oh, what a great bowl. Great bowl. Yeah, Peter.
Same as you are.
If you could understand Walter, he'd be saying he was pretty happy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who don't know him, Walter is a Scot
Yes.
with a fairly broad accent still. And when he gets warmed up and has a long and rapid conversation, occasionally you need a translator.
This is close from Brian Chapman. Oh, he's just turned Peter's bowl. It's sitting
lying flat.
Yeah, and it's lying flat now, which makes it better for his team now. He'll be looking just to draw to those Chapman bowls, you think?
Yes,
get in amongst those.
Another one on that bowl there, drawing in by the jack.
If he lands in front of them, he gets another shot. He's played the same line. Has he got the same weight? No, just a bit short.
One down, John is flat. You can play either way.
Just to give you a update, the women's 60 to 74 fours after 7 ends. It's the Estelle Hickey for leading 9-3. So 5 ends to go there, leading 9-3.
Good home, mate.
Yeah, quite wisely, Walter asking for one over the head. I'm sure if John doesn't go for it, I think Neil definitely will.
So it's even more critical that under the rules of this competition, Steve Hoeft gets close to the 2 metre mark,
Yes.
which is down the back, and he's pulled up a little short on that. But if a jack goes dead, it is spotted on the 2 metre mark.
Yep.
So therefore, sometimes even in providing those 3 white bowls are all Neil Fisher's, there's actually an advantage to killing it as opposed to replaying the end.
I think one is Bruce McClintock's, and I'm not sure. I think it's the one that splits those two.
Okay. Yeah. You don't usually see John Walker sort of offline like that, so I think Steve Hoff might want to put another at least a couple of metres on that last bowl of his to reach right down to the tee.
Yeah, I think he's
He's
going short again. Yeah,
he's trying to draw. Right. At the end of this end tomorrow? Just do an ad. We'll put a rhyme and ad at the end of this end. Yeah, so hear the conversation there between Peter and Steve. He's pretty confident that Neil's going to have a go at this. Alright, looks like he's only on the draw. Now it's going to turn quickly. Stuck there, might have blocked his line there. So I think Peter and Steve were talking about Walter, telling Walter to put one right down the back. Just in case, like he said, what it if it killed. Okay.
He's drawing again.
Drawing again.
He's trying to drop one in the hole there to block. Yeah,
well, he's got a good track line now in between those bowls.
We have it.
Mm.
No, I'll do.
Interesting having microphones on some of these players. Yeah, I think he's going a little bit quicker at this one.
Yeah.
Very close. If that kills, yeah, which it does.
Oh, he's knocked two of his bowls out.
So whose bowls are they now?
I think he's still got one.
One down. So a good shot there by Neil Fisher, killing it we've still got one to come from Walter. So he's got an opportunity to draw to the 2 metre mark. Plenty of room. Not on a bad line. I don't think it's weight. Oh, great bowl. Stops. It's down. Yep. So great bowl there. Last bowl by Walter Howden, which puts them ahead now 7-6 after 8 ends. And that, as we were saying, that's sort of broken that little rot of 3 ends on the trot. So
I think they needed that.
Absolutely. And I think now it'd be interesting to see if Bruce puts the mat on the 2 metre mark and goes short like he has been in the previous ends when he did have the mat. Score update again, the women's 75 plus fours, Jill Fraser leading 5-3 after 5 ends. And while we're putting the jack up, we'll just go to a quick commercial break.
Are you ready? Yeah! All right, here we go.
Welcome back to the Bowls North Harbour New Zealand Masters. We're in the 9th end of 12 in the men's 60 to 74 fours, where we saw in that last end after Neil Fisher killing it, Walter Howden drawing just past the 2 metre mark to pick up the shot and take the lead back. And we see Bruce McClintock straight away as soon as he grabbed the mat and delivered the jackers, put one right on it. So advantage to them so far, but a good response from Colin Rogan, sitting in behind there, gives us skip options further down the track.
This might be a good time to talk about someone who sadly is not with us anymore and would have loved to have played in this event and would have been a heck of a success, was Trevor Ford, who is a long-time member of the Takapuna Bowls Club and sadly lost his battle with leukemia in Australia this week. And for those of you who don't know, Trevor was a highly decorated bowler at both club and centre level in North Harbour. Everyone who played Trevor knew how dangerous an opponent he was, especially on the draw. A man who would put 3 bowls within 6 inches of the jack and start mumbling that he hadn't got it quite close enough. He was that good. He was an exceptional player, so difficult to play against, and but a very unassuming man on the green who just kept delivering each time.
And total sympathy to Trevor's family. I mean, poor Trevor, I believe, had been stuck in Australia for 18 months due to COVID, and like Wynne said, lost his battle, to leukemia, and I know that all the members at Takapuna are deeply saddened by the news, and certainly on behalf of Bowls North Harbour, we pass our condolences on to not just his family but the bowling community family, because as Wynne said, Trevor was an esteemed man. He was here we go, there's a bit of anger here. Okay, so it's the first drive of the day coming from Brian Chapman. But yeah, just going back to Trevor, an absolute gentleman, was an extremely good bowler, will be sadly missed by not only the Takapuna members but all the bowling members of North Harbour and a lot of other centres that he was involved in. So,
well, I recall a singles final, club final at Takapuna not so long ago when Walter Howden was a member, and Walter, who's playing here, skip for this team, ended up playing Trevor in the final, and Walter was bowling extremely well in those days at that time, and I think he lost 21-2 to Trevor.
wow.
And the very next year he played Paul Freeth in the final.
I know Paul.
And I think the score was 21-1.
Wow.
That is how good Trevor was.
Wow. No, absolutely a deep loss. And anybody, because the bowling community is so close, it's so tight-knit, that everybody sort of knows everybody. So, we had a minute's silence here this morning. We'll certainly be remembering Trevor for a long time to come, and our deepest thoughts are with his family and friends.
And I'm sure Walter wouldn't worry about me recalling that story because he was such a good friend of Trevor's, and in such awe of the way he could play bowls that it was a privilege for any of us who watched that game, and for even Walter, who played in it, to say that was quite incredible.
Yeah. No. So once again, on behalf of all the bowling community, Trevor will certainly be missed, in our condolences to family and friends and anybody who's watching and listening. Certainly, put Trevor in your thoughts and your prayers and that tonight, and remember a very good man who did a lot of bowls, did a lot for bowls in this area. Well, we did see, we were waiting for, while we were talking about Trevor, we were waiting for someone to play an aggressive shot.
Oh, yes.
Great bowl there from Steve Hoeft, tucked it round the corner. We saw Brian Chapman with his first bowl. He was instructed to drive and was very successful driving and cleaning out the shot bowls. But Peter Nathan put one right back in there, and now Steve Hoeft has hidden the jack sort of behind that front white one. It looks like they're holding 2 shots at the moment, win. As John comes down.
Yep.
And
He's quite wide here,
yes,
John.
I think that ball's going to get in the way, right? Weight wasn't too bad, but yeah, I think just a bit wide, so...
But it's a very open channel down there
Yep.
on the draw still, isn't it? Either side.
Okay, well, we've only got one, so I think it's 2, Robin. Yeah. So, but also with that Brian Chapman bowl on the wing, you know, if Neil decides to come through that channel and makes any contact with the bowl or the jack, he's got that bowl of Brian Chapman sitting there, because I don't think he'll be playing too much more weight than that just to move that jack that little bit. So it's quite important that Walter maybe even just covers that. He's got 2 at the moment.
Yep. If he's just a fraction behind the jack, he'd probably be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there or thereabouts around the Brian Chapman bowl.
But now Peter Nathan's waving his hands. Yeah. So Walter's team saying he had good weight, but was a bit narrow and ran into the front bowl. Now playing with a bit of weight, I think.
He's gone a bit narrow.
Oh, and he's taken that. That's that bowl of Brian Chapman's I was talking about.
Well, your weight was fine.
Now he's lost that
He's
safety.
lost that. Yeah, correct. He's lost that safety if that bowl goes out now. So Walter can really put the pressure on here. If he can draw another one over the head and make it count, he's just got to reach that Peter Nathan bowl. Oh, he's just at his own bowl now.
Can't round there, mate. All I can do is
I'm just gonna.
camera.
Narrow again, isn't he?
Yep. Looks like 2.
Yep. 2 to Walter Howden and his team. So after 9 ends of the 12, we've got a scoreline of 9-6. So a 3-shot lead with 3 ends to play.
What are the rules? If we end up all square after 12 ends, is it 1 extra end or is it 3 best of 3 ends? Do we know?
I don't know. We can find that out. My understanding, the way that the tournament's been run, it's sudden death 1 end.
Yes.
But I can certainly find that out for you. I'm just looking for someone. I'll go. If you just excuse me a minute, Win, I'll go and find that out because that could be quite important.
Slightly over the head, burst of adrenaline.
So I've just gone and asked the event committee, and it's a one end, extra end. So straight knockout.
Sudden death.
Sudden death, yeah. There is a possibility that, you know, the two semi-finals were like that, and, you know, certainly Neil Fisher's team are capable of, you know, making up 3 shots at least.
Oh, easily. Now this is a matter of trusting your line here, isn't
It's
it?
going to duck. Yeah, it's going to be the shot. Bowl there. See how much that kept running away though, sideways. And so Peter Nathan, who's been playing his backhand in this way, would like to stay there, but
Walter doesn't think he'll get round that
No.
front bowl and hold by the
No.
jack.
no. So I think he's been told to change hands. So this will be interesting. It'll be probably one of the first bowls that Peter's played on his forehand. And he won't be liking that one.
A couple of years ago, I was watching Brian Chapman bowl, and
Yep.
it was almost like a golfer who'd got the yips, and he was getting on the mat and having you thought he was going to bowl, and he had a practice swing of the arm, and
Yeah.
then stopped and walked off, and he kept doing it the whole game. So I haven't asked him about it, but clearly he's got rid of that.
Yeah,
but
he
but
has.
But he had it for a little season. Where obviously something had either just got his attention with his technique or his
No.
mind.
No, Peter changed to his back end. He could prove to Walter that he could get round that front white one, but he's gone just over 1.5 meters over, so it's still wide open for the threes and the skips. This looks a better line. Chapman with his XGs.
Yeah.
He might get away with it with his weight. Perfect weight.
I would say coming up that this is a big test for Steve Hoeft and John Walker. And John, this is tailor-made for him.
Yep.
A draw either hand
Yep.
under this pressure.
Yeah, you can see there, Steve, with the big breath taken.
And John's just cleaned the goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he very rarely watches where the other person's bowl's going.
No.
And Steve's come on a decent line.
Pretty good if his weight's right.
He's going to cut across. Oh, it's holding. Hard to tell. Fell out as well. I don't think it counts. John Walker puts one right here, right on the jack here. Then it certainly puts a lot of pressure on Steve and Walter. And we'll give Neil certainly a lot of confidence when it comes to his turn. Wow, look at the turn on that.
And
Yeah.
the run.
The run just...
Finishing on a mat and a bit over.
Yeah, nearly even 2 mats.
Tell me about your theories on very quick greens.
Yep.
A lot of players talk about just holding the bowl lightly in the end of their fingers.
Yep.
Others will say, no, I'd rather put it in the palm of my hand because I know I'm only just going to let it go a little bit. Again,
Yeah.
a bit like every delivery, everyone has a different theory about it. Convention would say in the end of your fingers,
Into
wouldn't
your
it?
fingers, yeah.
Where you get more feel.
Yeah. So that last bowl of Steve Hoeft, his holding shot.
Mm.
John had the right weight but the wrong line this time, so I think as they switch around...
Does Walter want to get there first on his forehand, or does
Yeah.
he want to bump up one on his backhand, one of his own bowls?
Yeah, well, I think that's what Steve Hoft's just telling him, is maybe playing the backhand and knocking him in a roll or two.
Rolling
and,
one.
And his bowl will stay with it too.
Mm.
The danger for them is if Fisher moves it anywhere over the other side, then he's got at least a couple of bowls waiting there. So
what he's saying is, okay, I'll leave Neil Fisher an open forehand draw,
Yeah.
and if you're good enough,
then fair
well
enough.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And as we find out in this game, you are gambling on percentages.
Walter's going to get away with this.
Yes, he is. Everything is a judgment call, isn't it?
Well, if Neil's a bit narrow, he sits on that Steve Hoft bowl.
Yes.
If he is with the kitty, it's going to where his bowls are. So, and if he draws it dead, great. He's only 2 down with 2 to play.
So hindsight, would you have said Walter should have put one over on the other side?
Well, it would have. Neil's
He's
going
going
backhand. Okay, this is different.
Perhaps they all feel that side is just a bit more sympathetic to them.
He's not far away, but he's going to hit this in. Oh. I can't see what he's trying to achieve. Maybe just to sit that blue bowl and stay?
No.
Because that other blue bowl that's in front is against them.
Hmm.
He's taking a bit of line. What's his weight like?
Pretty good.
Very close.
Pretty good. That's what he wanted
That's
to do.
exactly what he wanted. 1 shot and 1 in behind now.
Mm.
So he's certainly beaten that Neil Fisher to that. I can't see any other option but Neil going with the forehand. Or Kitty in the ditch, if you can see it.
John Walker's not convinced there's anything at the back for him.
Tight.
He's under.
Oh.
Oh. Yes, he's got shot.
Yeah. Well, they're the rubs and bowls that we were talking about earlier. Hit a short bowl and took all the pace off it and fell in for shots. So 10 ends gone, 9-7 to Walter Howden.
And we're going back to a long end.
Yes. This is going to be interesting. It'll certainly be probably the longest end of the whole game.
Yeah. Okay, we're running a sweepstake. How many in the ditch?
I reckon there'll be 3 or 4.
Yeah, someone's going to get excited at some stage.
Depends where this jack ends up.
Yes.
Might even not stay in. Oh, yeah. That's fine.
I should make mention of the way too these greens at Orewa have been marked.
Yes.
They've got a coloured line along a lot of the greens, which just makes it so much easier when you go and play.
It's like what they have at Broadbeach in Australia.
Mm.
Yeah, and so talking to Tony yesterday, he was saying, Tony Rickaby, that it's a permanent blue line that they make, and it's custom designed for with whichever way you play. And we've just got these 2 white lines there. They're purely for the cameras, to try and get the players to stand outside of those white lines. But yeah, it certainly makes a huge difference, and certainly very easy, even when it's raining and stuff like that, to know exactly where the 2 metre mark is, the centre line is, and everything like that.
Yes, because trying to chalk greens before play in slightly wet weather is hopeless.
Yeah.
It's on its flat. Ignore it. I'm telling you. This one. Good.
Having a long end is just going to give the players a bit more time to think about the state of the game.
Yep. And a
where
great
they're
bowl there
sitting
from
2 bowls from Colin.
Colin Rogan. The best 2 bowls that Colin's played.
Broadcasting as soon as this particular one is finished. You stop broadcasting when this one is finished, the one that you're watching.
Yep. Okay, so just an update on the women's 60 to 74 fours. After 10 ends, it's 15-5 to Estelle Hickey. And going back to the men's game with Gary Banks, I've just got to find
He came round
his
that.
name. Murray
Let him out.
Radojkovic is leading Gary Banks 12-3 after 9 ends. So a little bit of work for Gary to do in the last 3 ends to try and get back in that game. So yeah, so 2 great bowls from Colin there, and Brian Chapman's not far away if he gets around that. Over the head. Pete Nathan going to play his favoured backhand. The line looks reasonable. Now it's going to cut. His bowls don't really hold up, those blue lines. Oh, it is.
Mind you, that's Bruce McClintock's bowl.
Okay.
So he's only 1 down now.
Yep. Yeah, his action's a lot smoother now, isn't it? Of
Yes.
Brian Chapman. And he's playing a good line for his bowls too. It's going to come down to his weight.
What did Brian play with before these XGs? Do you know?
That's right.
No, they're red lines, these.
Oh, are they?
Yep.
Oh.
He's always played with the red lines, but he was telling me the other day that they've made a new set, same mould, same everything, but apparently the bowl itself inside the rings is a bit narrower, which makes it easy for him to hold in his hand. That's what
Yes.
he says anyway.
Yes.
So it's not as fat.
Moving the jack. All us.
Um,
We've got one.
Yes, that's a common problem for people, isn't it? When they get a bit of arthritis in their hands, or their hand is not as strong as it used to be. They're looking for either a slimmer bowl or a bowl with less weight in it.
Yeah.
That they can manoeuvre.
Yeah, we tend to drop down sizes of bowls. I mean, I've always been told that play with the biggest bowl that you can, that your hand can hold okay. But you can see a lot of bowlers either as they get older or start to get issues, they go down a size or...
I find that's okay at the beginning of the day. It's not a problem. You can play with perhaps a slightly larger bowl, but at the end of the day, if you played,
the bowl here.
50 ends or something in a day's bowls.
Steve Hoff there, touching the jack, but I think
Pace is good, mate. Pull down there.
there's still 1 down.
Is he? Okay.
Yep, I think so. John just needs to take a bit more green from his last one. Which he has. He's taken an extra 2 or 3 metres.
Now, if Steve Hoff finds the same track as last time,
It's starting to come back now.
if he sets this white bowl,
That's the right. Oh, he's got the wrong side of it.
yes.
That might be one of their bowls, though, eh? Or is it? It's hard to tell, you know. I mean,
I thought that was,
oh no,
Yeah.
it's obviously it's
Yeah.
holding 2.
yep, I thought that was Colin Rogan's bowl.
Yep.
You could get both of those. We'll see what he does first.
Okay, interesting comment. Steve Hoff saying, see what Neil's going to do first, and then maybe look to drive those 2 bowls out. If he hits one, I'll bet definitely both go.
Well, if you're going to drive, you may as well do it with his first bowl,
Correct.
rather
Yep.
than his last.
But I think he's playing second, isn't he, in this?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Been told to stop.
Get a couple of rolls out of any of these.
Okay. So the instructions have changed as they were changing over. They were telling Walter Howden to drive at those 2 shot bowls, but now they're looking at trying to promote 1 or 2 of their bowls through, which he's played a decent way. He's got to hit the right one.
Good, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what Neil does. He's got plenty of room to draw another one.
Is this in?
Not quite.
Walter, this one's ours now. You can play this hand. Rest the whites, get the jack.
Okay. This could be a match-winning bowl. You know, he pulls that jack
If he collects it,
and brings it back. He's on a pretty decent line.
I think he's narrow.
No. Yeah, you wouldn't get the wick, would you?
Oh, yes, he would.
He's got a wick off the
Certainly
front
saved
bowl.
one.
Mind you, Neil Fisher's team had one in one of the earlier ends.
Yeah.
It's where you say good result, not good bowl.
This is where 10-7 or 9-8
Yeah.
is a huge measure.
Yeah.
Might not be surprised to hear umpire,
Umpire.
please.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Umpire, please.
While we're waiting for the umpire update on the women's 75 plus 4s, it's getting a little bit tighter there with Jill Fraser's team now only leading 7-6 after 8 ends. So 7-6 after 8 ends, Jill Fraser leading the Lister combination there. Because at this time, you know, when the umpire comes down, that you sort of pull the old $20 note out and, you know, slip it into his pocket.
Might happen at your club, Steve. Oh, never at ours.
No.
Well, they called on Chubb Roberts,
Yeah.
who probably has been sitting in his seat for 5 hours today without having to do much. Now he's called on.
Yeah. in the 11th end
Yep.
of what could be an extremely decisive measure either way.
Well, both these bowls, interestingly, are lying flat
Yep.
too. And normally, if one's on their edge or whatever, they put chocks under them.
Yep.
I don't think they need to do that at all. They'll trust their
Yeah, no,
calipers and
he's chocked the
the jack. Yes.
No, I think his only other main involvement today was that controversial movement of where they picked up those 4 bowls. And he had to go to his rule book and...
Soon we're going to... I think they've tried it in Australia, electronic measuring.
Bowls New Zealand have brought out a prototype
Okay.
that has been in trial. It's a laser.
Yep.
It's like a laser pen type thing, and it effectively does what this is doing, and it gives you the distance.
Is it quick?
Excuse me.
Shot, Walter.
Okay, so just 1 to Fisher. So 1 down, 9-8 playing the last. Okay, this is where the money and the pressure comes from this. I think,
Well,
Colin's quite astute.
Yep.
Where he wants to put the jack. But yeah, going back to that Bowls New Zealand measure that they had, I think it's still being developed, but it's not far away. And I think once one of those are produced, I mean, it'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
You just point the thing
Yes.
at it, and it'll tell you straight away that one's 5 centimetres away, and that's 4 centimetres.
Yes, once it can be guaranteed to be accurate, and
Correct.
flawless, away we go.
Yep.
Well, this is where they earn their coin, and I guess there's a little advantage for Walter Howden on the scoreboard, and also the fact that he's got last bowl in this final.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Having that last bowl in the last end certainly does give you an advantage. It at least gives you the opportunity to change the game. As you can see,
And I tell you what, this will be where their palms are getting sweaty, the hands, the forearm will getting a bit stiff, bit tight.
the heart rate's going up, the blood pressure's going through the roof. Probably about John Walker's about the only one who,
The Iceman.
he doesn't give anything away. So a bit of line for Colin. If he doesn't hit his own bowl, Neil won't be happy if he does. No, he's got around it. Great starter. Great second bowl there from Colin Rogan. So that sort of now puts the pressure back on Walter Howden's forwards, because they've got to do something to move the jack, but they've got plenty of bowls left in their armoury.
Worst, they've got to get second shot
Correct.
shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would certainly be my instruction to Walter. Just get me something close. Oh, pretty good line. Yeah, just running on a bit. You'd want something closer than that. Don't think Bruce will be too happy with his final 2 bowls of this end.
Down there, you're trying to draw it in there. Okay, that's jack level. Beating that, down there.
Going to be under it, isn't he?
Yes.
Yep.
Handy.
Handy.
Second shot.
Yep. let's see. Walter's getting him on his forehand, and Peter hasn't been going that well. Good. Sorry, hasn't been going that good. This forehand coming this way.
He would still have been hoping. Yeah, Walter would have said, "Yeah, stick on your backhand."
Yeah, well, he's changed him to his forehand.
No, time for him to bowl a bomb.
That's a pretty good
Good
track.
line. Good line.
Yeah, good bowl. Yeah, that certainly gives a good second shot at the moment.
Over, good, mate.
Certainly gives him a good sider for his next bowl as well. Taking more green this time. If that's the same weight, that should come back. Yep. Very good bowl.
Yep.
Very good bowl. He'll be very happy with that, Neil. Oh, yep, he gets a clap. So, pressure on now, the Howden 4. Peter Nathan, if he plays a similar shot to his last one, maybe with a fraction more weight, he could drag that kitty around.
I think a repeat of anywhere near that first bowl would
Taking
give
his
Walter
weight.
something to play with, but he's dropped his weight. Yep.
Come round there or round there.
So Neil's realised that if they kill it, he's 2 down at the back. So he's looking for John to certainly keep well off the head and looking to at least match that back bowl of Bruce McClintock's. Which he's done very well. Very happy with that. Okay, Steve Hoff's turn.
That is an option, though, isn't it? If
Yeah.
Walter is in the cactus towards the end, and if he drives it and puts the jack out of play,
Yeah, right.
he's got the 2 metre.
Yeah.
It's getting
Something
tighter.
similar again, mate.
Yeah, it seems to be a tougher hand, that forehand coming this way. The bowls seem to be coming a lot more... Oh, someone's talking. That's probably Pete talking. I think he's asked him to play a similar shot again, I think. Playing safe, and why not? Yep. He's got to change the head somehow.
He's going to play with some weight.
Just trail the kitty. Not too bad to there. He's got to hold that, and then he's going to cut away, I think.
Short.
Yeah. When you're 2 down on the head and 1 up on the board, you can't be short, unfortunately. And if you have a look at the bowls of the Howden 2 and 3, they're all short. 1, 2, 3 of them.
All that is pressure because they've been
Yeah.
bowling.
But also
Beautifully.
they're playing that forehand, whereas
Yes.
they've been playing this backhand.
Yeah.
And that first bowl,
Yeah.
that first white one at the front there has
That's put them off.
put them off. And see, Neil Fisher being clever, he's playing that hand because he knows. He'll be trying to probably get another one closer as he loading up the back.
Well, he's
Do you
giving
do it
Walter
your
every
first?
chance.
Yeah. Do you do it with your first bowl? Will you
I'd
try
be
and-
inclined to take a deep breath and have a go at it.
Yeah.
I think. Seeing how difficult it's been for them to draw in on
Yeah.
that side.
Yeah, I think you've got to play with a decent amount of weight.
Mm. Because if he kills it, I think he's got the 2 metre.
No. It's real tough to play. Good. Oh, hang on.
He needs a wick.
Oh,
He's only
got it.
one down.
It's only one down. And Walter's got last bowl, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, well, the crowd are certainly getting their money's worth. We can assure the government that we've got less than 100 people here, but it does sound quite loud because the bowls, the game's becoming very, very close.
So what does
Yeah.
Fisher do here?
Well,
Does he trail the jack?
well,
He's got 2 back bowls over this side.
he's a good enough bowler to go straight at the blue and put the pressure back on Walter. Worst case scenario, he's narrow and he catches the jack, but you know, with a backhand sort of run shot
Yes?
or drive, he can drive pretty well.
Oh, yes.
He takes that blue out clean, and then he's really puts the pressure on Walter. What do you think he's doing?
I think he's drawing.
No, he's
Yep.
just drawing. Yep.
He's going deep.
Mm.
He's worried about that 2 metre, isn't
Yeah.
he? He doesn't have the spot there.
But I don't think Walter's going to go quick enough to kill it.
Not now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn that up. If Walter comes on the backhand, turns the shot bowl over and the kitty.
Or he plays the other hand again and sits the white. But
It's got the danger of pushing it
swings,
through
yeah.
to
Yeah.
Chapman's bowl right behind the jack.
I think he's going to safe a hand, which is the backhand. Worst case scenario, it's 9-all and they play again. No.
No. Extra hand.
Extra in and we come. So we are going to an extra end, and we're just going to wait the toss to find out who's going to go first. We'll just have a quick commercial break.
Are you ready? Yeah! All right, here we go. Everybody.
So welcome back to the men's final of the Bowls North Harbour Masters, going into an extra end, and while we're in that commercial break, it looks like Walter Howden's won the toss and given the mat away, which gives him the last bowl.
Yeah.
And
It's normal practice, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, remember
At the start of the game, you win the toss, you start.
Yeah, correct.
You take the mat.
But you know, going back a few years, you could give the mat away even if you won the end. You remember that?
No. I said,
Yeah. So every end that you won, you could decide whether you wanted to keep
Gee,
the
that
mat
would have
or
been
give it
tough.
away. Yeah. I remember when I first started bowls, that was the rule.
And what was the convention? Did most people give the mat away?
Yeah, a lot of people did, waiting for that last bowl, giving them that advantage. Didn't make much difference to me in my early years of bowling anyway. But Bruce going on the wide side. We'll come back if he's got the weight. Walter seems to like it. Very good start from Bruce McClintock. Under pressure, he's drawn a bowl within a foot and jack level. So it puts the pressure back on Colin Rogan. It seems to be a similar line to his first one. He's got a bit more weight on this. And he's just clipped the bowl and fallen in for shot. Great bowl. Okay, we've had a little bit of change in lead in the women's 75 plus 4s, where Jill Fraser's been leading all the way. However, after 10 ends, she now finds herself 8-7 down to the list of 4 there. So 8-7 to the list of 4 versus Fraser's 4, and that's after 10 ends, 2 to go. So back to this one, we've got the experience of Colin Rogan there, using that bowl of Bruce McClintock's to perfect scenario, perfect result, sitting right in just behind the jack.
I've just had a quick look at a few rough notes I made during this game.
Yep.
Playing this way, Fisher's team has won 4 ends, and Walter Howden's team has won 2.
Wow.
Playing this way. Is that going to be the way the final finishes?
Certainly looks like it at the moment. As Brian Chapman uses that same bowl that Colin Rogan used, and got the same result basically. Peter's very capable of running this, and I'd be intent straight at 2 now. He's got nothing in the way. Runs into the 2 bowls, and even if he kills it, no, just be nice to draw.
Yeah, got to be here.
Yeah, wouldn't be happy with that. I mean, I would have had my 2 straight away. He's capable of doing it.
And it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Early in the head,
Yep, you miss.
a bowl goes, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You got a few more.
As it is, that bowl's wasteful anyway because it's, 4 or 5 minutes short. It does happen, but it doesn't often happen where the jack bounces back towards the where the bowlers are playing from.
Easy from the commentary position. And maybe that's a bit of us being a bit too gung-ho, I don't know. But at this stage, it's a one-end game.
Yeah, and at the moment, Walter Howden's team's in the lurch.
Cactus.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. So I think he's going to tell Peter to have a go at this now, but he should have gone with his first one, because if he missed with his first one, it gives him a good opportunity for a sighter in a second. Peter generally doesn't go too quick at things. Certainly
He's
got
close.
a chance.
Very
He's very
close.
close. He's got it. Oh, whose bowl's out there? Is that
That's
Fisher? Chapman's.
Yeah.
What a great bowl. Great bowl with a poor
Unlucky.
result. Ah,
Yes.
absolutely.
We've got 1.
It would have killed 2, and they might have had a chance there.
We've got the backest 1. They're just drawing.
That was a terrific bowl.
Oh, outstanding. Should have done it with his first one.
Yeah, and shows the unpredictability of bowls. You just don't quite know when the bowls get in that squeeze where the jack's going to go.
Or whether they split.
Yes.
This looks on a pretty good line, actually.
Tell you what, if he carries the jack, though. Look out.
Oh. Whose bowl is it?
Oh!
Oh, so it's gone to McClintock's bowl.
Mm.
Wow.
Come down.
What do you tell him now? Keep away from it?
Well, certainly a mat either side of it.
Ask the man down there. You need to ask them.
Yeah.
Not John, the man. I asked the umpire.
So they're going on about whether he can come down and look at the head, because the three's not usually allowed to come
Yes.
and look after before he's bowled his bowl, but he's asked the umpire, and the umpire's agreed that he can. I don't think Neil Fisher's too happy about it, but
So whose shot was that?
who played that last shot? It was Brian Chapman, I think. Oh, no, it must have been John Walker's first bowl. Yeah, John.
Put your foot on the 2 metre, please.
So it looks like Walter Howden, in their discussion with their team, think that either John or Neil are going to try and kill it. So they're looking to put something on the 2 metre mark now.
Yep.
I think was what the
Okay.
instruction is.
That's it.
Cover the spot. I
Good
mean, hey, at the moment,
Good theory.
good theory at the moment, because he certainly doesn't want to touch any of the bowls that are in position at the moment, because there's only one thing that's going to happen, and he's going to give it away. He's a bit short, 2 metre mark. Poor John Walker's got the lonely walk back to the mat while everyone's staying down the other end. But he is a capable man of drawing bowls in these very tight situations. So
He's done this hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And ended up on the right side of the ledger more often than not.
yeah, it looks like he's playing with weight.
Mm.
A bit wide, he's going to hit the
Wick.
Chapman bowl. Wick.
Quick.
Oh, here we go. And there's that white bowl sitting there. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh.
The bowls ended up in 4 different the jacks ended up in 4 different locations.
Are we up or down?
So they got the shot.
Yes.
So he's asking him to get to the 2 metre mark, which would give him another shot.
Is it going to move again?
Wow. It's quite a lot
Through
of
the
gaps.
backhand?
Through the backhand, bring it that way. That other white one must be against them, and they've got Chapman's bowl against them as well. Right. It's a positive draw inside that Chapman bowl on the wing there, I'd say. That's where I'd be looking to get. Over the head, though. He beats that Chapman bowl, he's got second shot.
Yeah, if he goes a little bit under, he's still going to hit it to his bowl.
Yeah. And if he's even tighter again, he hits his own blue bowl through.
I certainly think he's got to get another bowl in the area, don't you?
Yeah, I believe
To
so.
add to the pressure.
Yeah. Neil's got 2 seconds, so he does have more options.
It's a bit wide.
Yeah, I think it's too wide for what he's trying to achieve. The weight looks good. You know, so if that's gone the draw. Oh, no, it stayed up. Okay.
Ooh,
That could come in handy.
that's resting on the wood.
Yeah. Well, either Neil...
There's a lot of room for him to
Yeah,
draw.
he's got a lot of room to draw. I think the option I see is he either draws or he drives the white bowl of Howden's, because they haven't got anything else near their head apart from that blue one at the front. And if he gets both of them, then he's got Chapman's bowl on the wing, which will be shot as well. So it's draw or drive, I think. I think he's driving. Yeah, he's going to drive for that white bowl. Okay. Critical now for Howden to get another shot on the head to cut that shot off.
The other side of his shot bowler.
Yes. Landing inside
distance.
Chapman's. Yeah.
Yes.
Landing just inside that black speckle bowler Chapman's. Or if he sits on it, because he's going pretty quick.
He's a bit over.
That's going to end up in the ditch. There's that adrenaline. Eh?
Sure is.
Oh, well, Neil, you're either in or you're out. He's narrow. Oh. Great final. Congratulations to Walter Howden, Steve Hoeft, Peter Nathan, Bruce McClintock, taking out the men's 60 to 74 fours. It was 9 all after 12 ends, and that was the most outstanding and amazing extra end that we could see, with the bowls moving, or the jack moving so many times. But they've got up over Neil Fisher, John Walker, Brian Chapman and Colin Rogan by 10 to 9. On behalf of Bowls North Harbour, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Ryman. I'd like to thank my co-commentator, Wyn Gray. Thank you very much for a wonderful job that you've done and your insights. To Bowls Orewa for the hospitality. Food was magnificent. And to my team, the board and staff, really good effort there, and making sure that this tournament ran so well. All the volunteers who have helped today, to the greenkeeper, Tony Rickaby, an outstanding job. And finally to Tamara, Colin and the Bowls New Zealand team for making this live streaming an outstanding production. So on behalf of Bowls North Harbour, I hope you enjoyed the viewing of all our finals today, and we look forward to hosting the Intercentre next month. So thanks very much.